Yeah, Pastor Frank, can you just raise your hand? He was one of those who are affected by these attacks. In fact, last week Sunday, some group of South Africans went to his church. I just want to help you because I'm not going to call you after this. They went to his church and they wanted to burn down the church while the service was going on. So after some intervention, they left. But we will pick it up from there. Pastor Frank, thank you for coming. Then there is also Mr. Chineye from Rosettenville. He lost a lot of money. He runs a pastor shop and a club. It was bent down. We have pictures of that as well. Thank you, Mr. Chineye. I'm going to call you later. Mr. James is also from Rosettenville. He also lost his means of livelihood. That is his business. And then Mr. Paul, can you sit down please? Mr. Paul Onyeama. He's a property owner, and I'm going to call him later to come and narrate his ordeal. Mr. Jude Duru, if he's available, yes, he's also one of the property owners in Pretoria West that has been hijacked, allegedly hijacked, because if you are staying in a property and you're not paying, and some group of locals ask him to pay them some money so that they can protect the property. They even hijack the papers. I think it's the photocopy of the papers of those property from him. So you will talk about it as well. Mr. Adam Ukoli is not around, but I think he will be around outside there or coming. Then Mr. Simon Uluwadale Adeoye is a co-owner of the mechanic workshop that was burned down in Christopher Street. Thank you, Mr. Adeoye. Mr. Jayola Balogun also is a co-owner of the mechanic workshop. He's a rewire. He's an auto electrician, yes. So I've known him for a very long time. So we used to call him rewire, so he's a long time. You understand? Alhaji Adebayo Ahmed Oyetoro. Yes, he's there. He was, his family was under threat during the attack in February. Mr. Frank of Reno Properties. He has been, where is Mr. Frank? Yeah, okay. Mr. Remy. Yes, he was one of those victims. So I'm going to start, thank you very much. I'm going to start by introducing a woman that lost her husband. I'm going to give her like 2-3 minutes. 2 minutes at most. We should not take more than 2 minutes because I'm going to call just a few people so that we narrate our stories. Majority of us knew what is happening. That's why we should just summarize the whole thing. If it's long pages like that of the president, I think we should summarize it. The reason why the president have to take a long story like that is because they'll take care of some issues so that people will not be called to come and talk. So I'm going to call Mrs. Anne Osokoya. Miss Anne Osokoya. Osokoya. Okay, I'm calling it like a Yoruba man. It's actually please, can you give Madame an opportunity to come? I'm going to give her 2 minutes. She lost her husband during this xenophobic attack. She's a South African married to a Nigerian. 2 minutes.
Firstly, I would like to thank you for this opportunity. The journey has been hard and it's been difficult because you journey alone with you, and I understand what's involved. My husband was just a normal Nigerian who had nothing to do with anything. He was just a normal citizen trying to make it in South Africa. And unfortunately, on that week that he met his unfortunate incident, he was visiting a friend in the northwest in Mafeking. He didn't understand the gravity of what do I say, of the issues that Nigerians or the people in Mafeking had. So when this attack happened, he was visiting his friend, and it was I'm told that it's a case of mistaken identity and being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But my feeling is, if somebody says to you, I am not so and so, you should be maybe questioning further, or maybe trying to understand who is this person that you are attacking. But I feel that he was attacked and killed because he was a Nigerian. Because if it was me saying I am not Dimagazu, they would have left me. But because he spoke in a different language and he spoke in a different accent, that is always assumed that he's a Nigerian. He was killed. And my pain is, I go to my South African legal justice department trying to find justice and closure for the family. There's no answers. Instead, I will be told the investigating officer is not available, and I call the investigating officer, is not available or cannot take my call at the time I'm calling him. My pain also is that the Nigerian brothers who were in the same house have made themselves unavailable, and the case has been set aside because they're the only ones documented as witnesses. So in such cases, I've heard the president said there are interventions, but I would like to know what interventions are there, and what is planned for our families. Is there any relief for our own families? Because this issue, I did come to the embassy, to the embassy and the consulate to report. But there were no follow-ups, there was nothing communicated to me. It leaves us in, you are sort of like in a no man's land. You go home and report this was happening, there's no justice. You come home to your in-laws to come and report, still there's no justice. It's as if you are alone in this mist. You just have to follow whatever is being said to find closure for yourself. We lost property on that day because there was no reason for them to burn his car and things that he had in his car. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my story for now.
And then Mr. Paul, 2 minutes, mass.
Ministers, members of the diplomatic corps, ambassador, the High Commissioner, and the diplomatic corps that are here today, and members of the Nigerian Union, fellow Nigerians, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to be in front of our people today to explain what happened to me. It was 2015. I bought my house. I have my, to make this briefly, sir, this paper you could just go through it, and this is my title deed of my house. So I bought this house with my wife, 2016, and we rented it. It's bonded property, and up to now I'm still paying for the bond of that property with my wife, rent and tax. Everything associated to that house, I am paying it. Now, the ANC councillor, which other members of ANC came that I'm a Nigerian and I'm not supposed to own a house in this country. I said, why? They said, no, my house is under investigation. Why some South Africans don't have where to sleep, and then Nigerians are coming here, buying a house? I said, but I am a professional. I'm a quantity surveyor. I'm working. I'm I went to school here. I have my BSc honors. I have my masters, and I'm working here. I've worked with several construction companies and firms. He said that's what they want. My wife is a South African, and he can own a house here. He said if I marry my wife here, I should take her to Nigeria, where I can own a house, and not here. I said why? Now destiny continues to move.
Oh yes.
I went to the chief whip of ANC, I went to the speaker of ANC, I went to the mayor. There's nothing commander. I came to the embassy here, I met Mr. Balogu, cried to them, asked them to help me. They said they have nothing to do. I should go to court. I've been calling there, spending money, paying for those things. They chased me out of my house till as I'm talking here now. I never stepped my foot into the house. If I go there, they use stone, they use everything. They call all other ANC people, they gather together to stone me. Then I ran away. I've obtained a court order, but I cannot even go there and enforce it. So it become a problem. I'm looking for a place where here and there where I can get people to assist me, let me go there and take people out and take over the place. There's nothing. Now they went there and they are renting the place and collecting money from there. The electricity bill, the water and the water bill, everything going there. I'm paying it up to now, and there's nothing. So I'm suffering now. I don't even have money now to pay my children's school fees, to attend to other things I have, and this everything. I don't even. In fact, as I'm here now, I don't know what to do. Now they told me now that if I evict people here now, they're going to turn that place, say I'm selling drugs, and they're gonna burn my house. Because of that, I just give gap. And as soon as I wanted to do that, they burned somebody's house still in that place. So it scared me. I just go and relax. So please, I need intervention. I need help from the embassy, from our people, from the ministers. Please, I don't know what to do. I have wrote everywhere. There's even the president of Nigeria, followed me 2 or 3 times for the meeting negotiation on this, and I'm not happy. Please, thank you very much. Thank you.
It's not the only case. But I called him out concerning the property. There are also 3 other people. I'm not going to call them. It's a similar story. So just to have a feel of what actually happened in terms of property hijacked by the locals. So I'm going to call on Mr. Simon Adeoye. They actually lost, he's going to represent those groups that lost their means of livelihood. Please come. And I think we're going to make it 1 minute.
Just before I own my workshop since 2008 in Pretoria, and the workshop was under document. We registered the workshop. On the 5th of February, they just called us around 5 a.m. Our workshop is burning down. When I get there, I see fire everywhere. There are 28 cars was burned down, both our tools, everything. When we get in, we can't even take anything, single things out of the workshop. That is what happened in the workshop in Pretoria West.
Thank you. Okay, he's in the group of those who lost their means of livelihood. There is also other businesses like club, pastor shops, and so on. We have actually compiled those who lost their means of livelihood, and then we have made it available to the mission here. So we will continue pushing on that. And then, just to round up everything, there are some questions. I'm going to take 2 or 3 of them very briefly. I'm not going to call you Mr. Badmos because you didn't register. I'm going to call those who register, and we will take them. So by the time the ministers finish reacting to our questions, some of the questions might have been taken care of. If it's not taken care of, we will attend to you. Please, let's just try to be to follow me the way I'm going. I'm going to call Barrister Omorobi. He has a question. Barrister Omorobi, can you allow him?
Great Nigeria.
Great. 30 seconds. Yes, the question, not the speech.
Okay. Your Excellency, you're welcome. I think briefly, I'm a practicing attorney in South Africa. I said I'm a practicing attorney here in South Africa for 16 years. I'm liaising with the Nigerian structure, the Nigerian Union. There are a lot of cases that has been pending, unlawful arrest, malicious prosecutions. We can generate funds in the sense that we can get funds through a contingency arrangement with the state after we sue, because there are so many matters that have been left unattended due to probably few Nigerians don't have the resources or funds to go after their rights. South Africa is quite a very structured system, which, but the law is there to work or tap into. But the major problem is there are many, from my experience, there are many injustices that has been happening to our brothers here in this country, most especially ones in the political asylum, permits that are legal, seize their passports, just no dignity, nothing. So what I'm trying to do, or we, the practicing attorney with Nigerian Union, is we want to set up a legal structure that will attend to all the Nigerian needs. Because the basic fact is that for the Nigerian Union to start up, it's quite very, very difficult. But in essence, we can even generate funds through this means in a contingency basis for the Nigerian Union, take up the cases that are very, very that are pending, that are not being dealt with. So we just want, it's not really a question I'm going to put, we just need a support base to support the structure, to assist Nigerians, so that we can all be in one accord. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I think question, 30 seconds. Let's be Chief Mazi, Chief Jonas.
Great Nigerians, greatest Nigerians. Your Excellency, the Ambassador, your honorable ministers from home, Your Excellency, the President of Nigeria is. The President, I don't want to add to what you have said already. Oh, sorry. I don't want to add to what you have said already. You have actually articulated our concern and presented to our leadership. But the problem I have is you saying that they have already solved the problem, or they are going to solve it. The issues presented here today are the ones that just happened. Not the ones that happened in 2008, not the ones that happened in 2015. These are some of the ones that just happened. And they're not all of them, because there are many people whose houses are burnt. They are still here. But the few people are called. Now I'm saying, South Africa is like a father who sent his child to go and stone the other house. When he stone his, he comes, hey, you know, this child, I'm not aware that he did this. We are going to tell you, I am a citizen of South Africa. So are many of us. That is how they operate. Because what happens is the police will stand here and supervise their people breaking into our shops, looting the stock. They will be supervising. They will watch them take those things away. None of these people has ever been convicted, but the police see them. It is a crime to break into somebody's business in this country. It is also a crime to hijack and stay in a property that you do not own. This country, ANC-led government, have built over 5 million houses, and those are called RDP houses. Nigerians are not part of the people hijacking RDP houses. Yes. They are buying legitimately owned properties, yes, and they rent them out, just like other nationalities in South Africa. But what we are seeing here is discriminated crime against Nigerians only. So now, why are they discriminating and doing that to Nigeria alone? It is because our government is weak. Our government will not protect us. You don't protect us. You have come and have teas and dinners and they lunch with them, and they massage you and they are going back. I promise you, this problem is going to continue. And if you cannot step your foot very strong, and they continue to massage South Africa, we are not protected. You need to stand up and do something. Otherwise, some of us will come home and sponsor our youth. We are not going to wait for you. We'll sponsor our youth to burn down MTN, to burn down Shoprite. We have the money to do that. And we are going to do it if you do not intervene. Then Nigerians.
We should ask the question, and let's try as much as possible not to, every one of us, in fact, if I call everybody, let me tell you this, if I call everybody, we are going to ask some of those questions that the president has actually postulated to the ministers. Now, let us try as much as possible to give time, because we have spent a lot of time talking, and then our ministers, they need to respond to some of these issues. Listen to me. You see, one thing is just that we need to be disciplined here now. I'm not saying I'm not going to take questions. I'm going to take questions. I'm going to take a lot of questions. But at least, like people will come to me, telling me how to talk, how to run, how to do this and that. Let us drop that. 1, 2. Let us try as much as possible. At least we have posed a lot of questions. Let them reply to these questions. Then we take round. I still have a lot of names, and people are still talking. We take another round of questions. If there is need be, I want to beg you to do something. If the minister have touched your case, you don't need to come out and say it again. If we want to take photo, video after this, we're going to take a lot of photos and so on and so forth. But let us try as much as possible. Let's listen. You see, we have asked a lot of things. I cannot even remember all the things we have asked. And they've written down a lot of things. Let them react to these questions that have been asked. So please wait. Okay, all right. Great Nigerians, we need to observe decorum. That is the advice from the minister, that we cannot. How are they going to respond if we did not observe decorum? Let's try to observe decorum. We believe that we are all matured men and women, so let them respond to these questions, and then we take it from there. I'm going to say this. Wait, please sit down. I've told you, don't tell me what to do and how to do it. That will help very well. Because immediately you start telling me what to do, everybody will tell me what to do. So I've told you, I've addressed your issue. You want to ask questions? Wait. Let them reply to this question. And let's observe decorum. Let them answer these questions. Please. I'm going to call on the honorable ministers. Yeah. I'm going to call on. I'm going to leave the podium now, the floor. Thank you. Then allow the honorable ministers to react to these questions, and if there is anyone that the ambassador or the CG can react to, let them take them one after the other, and let us observe decorum. And this is not a political gathering, so let us calm down, please. Thank you very much. Honorable Minister.
Honorable Minister, please, just a second. Please, I want to assure us we cannot, all of us cannot ask questions at the same time. Let the minister respond to the questions already asked. Then we check and see if we can go around again, and other people we ask more questions if possible. But I want to make an explanation to say that our ministers are weak. I think it's very wrong. Why I say that is that I'm privy to what they have done already. I think you should have allowed them to speak before you declare them weak. These ministers are not weak. Please, yeah.
Honourable Minister of Interior, the High Commissioner of Nigeria to South Africa, the President of the Nigerian Union of South Africa, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and other diplomats here present. Until that last statement, I was going to say it was a pleasure to be here with you, but I don't know how long it was up to a certain moment. But I certainly hope that this meeting will be conducted with respect and with, as I said, some decorum. We have not come here on a holiday. We've come here for a purpose, and you are that purpose. And it will break our hearts if we have to suffer any insult from you. First of all, I would like to express profound condolences to the lady who spoke, and also to all our compatriots who have suffered a loss, not just of property, but of loved ones and friends. What you have gone through is a great tragedy, and we feel it just as much as you do. Maybe not as much, but believe you me, we are also in great pain in our country. And it is that pain that has brought us here today. Okay? That is why we're here. You said answer questions. Well, the way the whole proceeding has gone, I don't even know which ones were questions and which ones were statements. But anyhow, I will speak to you as straight from the heart and as an official of the government. With the latest outbreak, this government was not in office when the previous ones took place, but nevertheless, government is a continuum. So, on assumption of office, it is also our responsibility to address whatever outstanding complaints that remain. Now, after the latest one, the very first thing we did, which is what any country would do, is to summon the representative of South Africa in Nigeria, namely the High Commissioner, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and expressed our anger, our outrage about what has happened, and seeking explanations and immediate cessation of such action. He made it clear that the South African government was not complicit in what had taken place, condemned it at the highest level, and were taking all necessary steps to address the matter. We contacted our High Commission here to inquire about the loss of life, if any, and damage to property. Mercifully, we were assured that there was no loss of life. Okay, so we will get this information. I immediately asked the High Commissioner of South Africa in Nigeria that I wanted to come to South Africa immediately to engage with the South African government at the highest possible level and to find an immediate solution to this recurring nightmare. And he said that he would arrange a meeting. The acting president of Nigeria asked me to arrange for him to speak with the president of South Africa. I communicated this to the High Commissioner of South Africa, and he asked me that he would arrange it. I asked him on 2 occasions. Unfortunately, that was not made possible. He returned to me and said that the date of the 13th of March had been fixed for me to come to this country. I thought it was a bit too far, but what can you do? You can only go to somebody's house when he says you can come. You cannot force your way there. So we accepted that. Before coming, I said that I should also come with the Minister of Interior to be able to address all these issues. As you know, some Nigerians also threatened South African businesses and business people in Nigeria. And the High Commissioner called me and asked me what to do. And I said I would speak to the security agencies to ensure the security of South African lives and property in Nigeria. They also wanted to go to some internally displaced persons camps around that time, something that they had planned in advance, some time earlier, and asked whether it was appropriate. Initially, I thought it was okay to go, but later I said I would consult, and I advised him after consultations that it was better that he did not go to visit those IDPs during that period because the nerves were still raw of Nigerians, so he didn't. So we came here, and we held meetings yesterday. The Minister of Interior held meetings with the Minister of Home Affairs, and I held meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and then we all met together. But even before then, we had met with your leadership, and they had more or less gone through all the points you raised today. And that was a very good idea that we had that meeting before we met with South African officials yesterday. You know, I also had to face the Nigerian media, and it was not easy because our people were baying, crying for blood, for revenge. And on one of the programs on which I appeared, in which we were also accused of being weak, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I said, okay, what are the options that we have as a country? We can declare war on South Africa, that's an option. We can break diplomatic relations with South Africa, that's a possible option. We could recall our ambassador, our High Commissioner here, that's an option. We could nationalize all South African businesses, that's an option. Or we could say to all of you, come home and leave that place. That's another option. Another possible option is to engage with them, to try and find a solution. It might not have been the right decision, but that's the decision I took. I said, let us engage with them. You see, because it could be a win-win, you know, if we engage. And I was convinced of one thing. Because I know so many South Africans. Minister of Foreign Affairs I've known even from before I became Minister of Foreign Affairs. President Zuma, when he came to Nigeria, I was with him all the time, in his car, in the hotel room, and we have a very good personal rapport. and so many other South Africans. And I do not, in all honesty, but that's my believe that the South African government in and of itself is xenophobic, or even the large number of South African people. So I believed that we could achieve a win-win for all of us, for us all. So we came here yesterday. They were very apologetic. They themselves recounted what Nigeria did for them individually, collectively, the role we played during the dark days of apartheid as a country. So many of them lived in Nigeria, were schooled in Nigeria, and we did everything to support them. Tsietse Mashinini, I don't know if some of you can remember, during the Soweto riots of those years, when I met him in the US, he had gone through Nigeria when he left South Africa, and so many of them. So the bond between us as Nigerians and South Africa runs deep. When President Zuma came to Nigeria, we have a framework, a mechanism, a binational committee to meet annually. He said no, that he would like this to be at the level of presidents, which is unusual and almost unique, because he wants a special relationship with Nigeria, and for them to be at one, as heads of state, on any issue and on every issue. I wanted, and we were supposed to come, President Buhari, here late last year, because he said have it even before the end of the year, and wanted us to develop even closer ties, so that whenever anybody is talking about any issue that affects Africa, they will know that South Africa and Nigeria stand as one. That any decision that needs to be taken, they would like to consult, they should consult, have a common position, and face the world.